Electricians podcast. This week we've roped in old man Savo to talk about the best testers of 2023 and probably the best overall tester. But
Ever.
before we get into that, as usual, our number one sponsor, our only sponsor, and the best fuse board manufacturers out there, in my opinion, Verso. Now, they do all the switch gear. I tell you the same shit every week. They do switch gears, sockets, all that sort of stuff. Go and check it out at the website. But very soon, we've got a very big surprise for you. Anyway, in the meantime, go and check them out. versoelectrical.co.uk. Go to the show notes. All the information's in there. Go and have a little click about and see what you can see. And probably go and buy some because it's pretty good stuff.
Have you finished?
Yeah.
My bit now then. Normally now I'd do the news, but there is no news this week because this is an evergreen bit of content for people who are hunting down testers in our annual tester review 2023.
Do you know what
I've got
is when you use words like evergreen. Like, shut up, man.
Oh, fuck off. So what I've got is, to prove we've got a master at work on this week, I've made a quiz. If you are not an audio viewer now, there are images coming on the screen. Dave, what tester is that?
So that's a Martindale ET4500 or something, which happens to be the same thing as my Metro MI300S.
Next
in
one.
A different case. A Dialogue.
He doesn't want to admit to it.
Oh, there's the QTech, yes, the KT63, the Mega 17 series, of course. The Ethos 8400. And the Robin, that's the KT, that's the 1420, isn't it?
Yeah, because it wasn't a
got
PSC.
my pause on one of those yet. MFT Pro, one of those over there. And the Metro MI3125.
So I hunted.
The Fluke. I don't have a Fluke in my collection because I just gave mine away to a young chap quite recently.
Fair enough. I hunted.
In exchange for favours.
So I hunted to do that quiz just to prove how good
the Dalai Lama.
I hunted and hunted online for testers, and all the random testers I found that I thought, oh, that's a good one. David already done a video on it, so I just had to go with them. But we've got an expert this week for testers.
I do have a bit of a penchant for the old MFTs, much to my wife's annoyance, especially when she saw how much I spent on this rather harmless Robin KTS 1630.
We're getting there.
Sure.
What we're doing tonight is we're doing the annual review of testers, yeah, because we appreciate a lot of people must regularly buy testers.
Yeah, you know what?
Regularly annual review of testers 23.
Why'd you have to be a child?
Oh, Sam. That's what this podcast is all about. It's the magic of the podcast. No, we're doing a test because loads of people want to buy testers, yeah. It can be quite difficult to find out honest electricians' opinions on testers. And I think with the gang we've got together tonight, you're going to get honest reviews.
Is this one of them episodes where I've got to go and get a load of tramadol just to get through it?
Yes, probably. Unless you know your testers. But yeah, everyone, I get asked when I was at college loads, what testers should I buy? Well, what car should you buy? It's the same question, isn't it? So tonight, we're going to go through a load of tester stuff and see.
Can I just ruin this episode for you and just tell you what you should do?
Go on, give us your favourite tester then.
I don't have a favourite tester. Well, I do, but it's not about that. It's about like all the for most electricians, you need a basic tester.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like all this fanning about, oh, this one does that and this one does that. An earth rod test. Shut up. Don't matter.
Do you know what you've just done? You've just ruined the next bit because I'm just about to say, in my opinion, to get the conversation going, they all do the same thing. They all do exactly the same thing.
They do.
So, Dave, what would you say? Do they all do exactly the same thing? Because you've got a mountain of them there behind you.
Kind of. Obviously, there are some whistles and bells that some models are armed with, but there hasn't been a lot. There wasn't a lot of change over a good sort of 15-odd year period, maybe, or maybe a bit less than that. A good sort of 10-year period. So, for example, for a rather marvellous and somewhat rare Seaward one here, the CMBS.
That's a weird. I didn't even think that was a multifunction tester.
A strange form factor, isn't it? I need to do a video about that. That was actually supplied to me by Steve at SFG Security. Go and check out his YouTube channel. He's a good chap.
So the reason that one's
there, a little play with it.
The reason I put that one up there is that was my first test of a 1620. And I believe in my heart of hearts, I could still go and do testing with that. And that is 20 years old.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. There hasn't been a lot that's changed in the basic functionality for a lot of machines until quite recently. Obviously, things are moving apace with the sort of extra features and functions you're starting to see
So for
coming
me
on things
though,
like the 3125 and the new Mega X1.
yeah, the new Mega X1, I got my hands on one of them the other day. I don't really know what I'm looking at. It just looked good. But for me, the KT63, right? Or the KT64, I think it is now, isn't it? The Q-Tech, the little one.
The Q-Tech.
If
So
you're
Q-Tech
doing...
are Robin, aren't they? Q-Tech were Robin. They're the guys from Robin.
How
Guys
about
who
you
do
let me
testers.
finish your sentence? No one needs to know how much you know about testers, Jamie. No one cares. All right?
God, I thought this was a conversational podcast. I was clearly wrong.
But the KT63 and 64, whatever, that is all you really need to do a standard installation.
Is that? Did I put a picture of that one up? That was the.
Am I right or wrong?
You're right. You're totally right.
You're right. Right.
Well then.
And to be honest,
Podcast
the tester, I mean, I sort of go through phases of favouring a particular instrument and then perhaps moving on to another one. The tester that's currently in the toolbox and calibrating, doing the business, is the first tester I ever bought, which is the Mega 1552 here. And that's got all the features and functions I need to go about most of my business. It's only when we start moving on to things like if we need to definitely verify Type A RCDs running or do an EV charge point installation, which I've decided I'm not going to do any more of because they're shit, then something like the 3125 comes in. But for your average fault finding, your domestic EICRs, your initial verification, a 10, 15-year-old instrument such as any of these will serve that function. Even something, which that one's close to hand, even something more basic than the Robin you had will do most of what you need.
I was looking at one of them on eBay. The thing is, as well, is like I said, I put my first tester up that Robin. I could still test that now. One thing it didn't have, which I do like, is RCD auto test. I don't want to be running up and down the stairs. So that's obviously, that is a genuine move forward, I think, in making your life easier. What other functions do you use that make your life easier as opposed to ones that are just marketing bollocks? Because there's some real marketing bollocks on testers.
There is not a lot. So some of these instruments, like the 3152, you can do things like save your results, and I think you can do that with the Mega as well, can't you? You can save results and zap them directly into what was Amtech.
Have you tried it?
I'm never going to trust that my instrument has recorded everything that I've just tested.
Yeah.
And go back to base and press the recall button and go, oh, for fuck's sake, you know. I'm going to type that stuff in manually as I go along into Easy, so that's the way I work. That's the way I'll always be working.
I will, like, I'm doing my 2391 this year. I've got a TIS MFT Pro, and if I can export it to a piece of software, I definitely will use that function because I'm flat out lazy.
Yeah.
And
you know, too,
it's on the MFT Pro.
You haven't tried it yet. I think it's actually more work than just writing it down.
No, it won't be.
Typing it into a thing.
No, it won't be.
Mate, I've tried it on the flukes. I put the flukes off.
Yeah, but that's fluke are overly complicated just to use.
Nah, we'll get onto brands in a minute. But other than that, has anyone got any things that? Has anyone got a tester in particular that's doing something that they could not do without function-wise, apart from also the auto test?
Yes.
Go on then.
The MFT Pro shows you how to do each test.
All right, so that's for retards. Great stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of instruments have that built in. That's built into the Metral stuff as well. And that's the advantage, isn't it? Advantage of having a.
Does that Metral, Dave? Does that not? If you put in a breaker size and the cable size, does that not tell you if it's a pass or fail as well?
It does. Obviously, you have to know what you're testing. You have to know that the test parameters are set correctly because these instruments often have a red and green light or a tick across on their screen, whatever, a pass or fail for the test parameters under use. Now, obviously, you're not necessarily testing those parameters. If I were to do a learn fault loop test on this and get something like 13 ohms, it would give me a big red light and say that's not right, David. But if there's a TT installation, of course, that's perfectly fine. So you can't just go by the red and green lights. So you have to know what you're looking at and what you're testing. Similarly,
sorry, mate, what values is it getting that red and green light from? Is that something you can pump into it off the website, or is that just something that has to be set?
That's something that is set on the test. So if I've got an R1, R2 test on here, sorry, that's a bad example, isn't it? If I go to a ZS test, then at the moment this is set up for a B32. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on the screen.
Oh, right.
It's set up
So,
for a
yeah,
B32.
got you.
So this is going to know that a B32, according to the 80% rule, is a pass or fail at 1.10 ohms, and that's what it's set to. I've got the parameter set for the 80% in the settings.
Can you?
So if I get
change,
1.12 ohms, it's going to give me the red light.
Can you change that B32 quicker than you can just look at a card that's got the results on? Is it worth it?
Because this one's not a touch screen, it's a bit of a fiddle to change. You've got to go through the sort of menu key. So I never bother because I know what I'm sort of testing anyway. And if I'm testing a 6-amp lighting circuit, I'll leave that set to B32. It might show as a fail because obviously you can have much higher resistance, much higher impedance on a 6-amp circuit. But I know I'm testing a 6-amp circuit, and I can go, well, the actual fail number on that is going to be like 7.28 ohms or something. Unless I'm getting a result that's up there, then I'm not going to worry about it. But something like a lot of the new instruments, of course, are touchscreen, and changing parameters on those can be easier. It can be a bit more of a faff, depending on, obviously, the user interface. The nice thing about these sort of things, and these more traditional ones, is you can see what the dial's set to. Whereas
I like
you can get a bit lost. You like clunking.
I like to clunk around. So if you're new to the game, knowing what you know, because the way you're talking, then you've got a lot of numbers in your head, values and stuff, yeah. Between us,
I'm not that much of a fucking bore, but
you are.
Yeah, obviously you come across some. You're working to the same stuff day in, day out. Some numbers are going to stick, aren't they?
What's the number? If you're new to the game, because they're the people that probably listen to this podcast in the future, because it's evergreen. If you're new to the game, what tester between us? So I'd say, what is it? Is it seagulls again?
Yeah. I'm going to get my bow and arrow out in a minute.
So what tester, new to the game, what are you going for?
I don't really have a straight answer on that.
Well, you have to.
You just qualified, done a proper apprenticeship. What test are you buying? What's the reasonably priced, ruggedest, reasonably lasting?
Well, it's like you say, isn't it? It's like asking someone what kind of car to buy. It all depends on your budget and what you think you're going to be doing. Obviously, if you've got the money to spend, then go for a brand maybe that you recognise, and go for something that's as fully featured as you can. If you're on a bit of a budget and you can't really chuck a great deal at the likes of Fluke's prices or Mega's prices, that sort of stuff, then maybe look down more at the more cost of ranges that are perhaps more cost effective for your budget. That's not to say that they're
how it is, Davo. Pound for pound, the probably most loaded MFT, pound for pound, is probably the MFT Pro. Like, it's not super expensive. It's got quite a lot of features, and it's quite so it's quite scalable, isn't it? You can buy stuff to add on to it to be able to do the EV. Certainly on the newer ones, it is superior in that way. You can scale it up.
A lot of testers have that advantage that you can upgrade the firmware to take on board new tests that perhaps older instruments wouldn't be able to.
They are full upgradable there. Let's go through these. These are the not. Well, now before this show,
Jamie,
what? I want to talk bronze.
Stop cutting people off. We're having a conversation. I'm going to attack you with ninjas.
Go on then. Get your crossfire. I will go through these brands that are on here. Yeah, the 9 that are good. There's 8 on here, I think. I thought there was more brands than this. Someone tell me if
there are more brands.
These are the only ones I could find. That I did the CEF website. I did test.co.uk. Not saying buy off them. Still a fan. So these are the brands that I found, and one of these is an old one.
Through.
Martindale, which is up on the screen.
I've got very little experience with Martindale, I must admit, but that instrument does appear to be a rebadge of this instrument. The difference between the two is that the Martindale doesn't have the proprietary connector port on the top. I almost didn't buy this because I don't like the idea of proprietary lead set. But,
that looks similar. You're right. That looks very similar.
It is. They are off the same production line. But I don't know if the guts are the same inside. I presume they are. The screen interface is the same. The button layout's the same. It's just the interface at the top that differs.
I've got no experience with Martindale. What about you, Sam? Anything?
So,
did you even know we did them?
If it's the same instrument as this, then this is fucking solid. This is, I've always said that that's the best tester I bought, because that's the only one I ever bought sort of brand new. Everything else has always been sort of second-hand find or whatever. But back in 2017, after
Our
seeing
boot
that on the
sales.
stand at Alex, I was like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to splash out. And there's a lot of things I like about that. In that the way it displays the information. This displays gives me at a glance more information than any of the other older testers I'd used.
But we don't know if that Martindale one's got the same screen, do we? But
Right.
we'll come back.
I think it has. I think it's the same engine inside.
So for me, Martindale was always the socket testers. When I was first starting out, the geezer I was working with, doesn't matter what socket tester you had, he would say, "Oh, have you got a Martindale?" So
Yes.
I always thought of the socket tester was called a Martindale, and then I only found out.
Well, that's what puts me off them is that I had a couple of their easy check extras, the socket testers, and they both failed on me.
Do you think
And I was like,
Martindale
yeah, these are like 60 quid a piece.
They did invent the socket
invented them?
tester, yeah. They did. What I will say is, in defense of Martindale, they're a known brand out there. Everyone's heard of them, like Sam just said there.
Yeah.
You know their test probes. I will not allow anything else for proving dead. They are infallible. They're brilliant. Absolutely best bit of kit on the market.
Why?
Because they've got no moving parts. They still use neons. There's nothing to go wrong. They're easy to inspect and they just work. There's no bells and whistles on them. It's just
You're talking about contact voltage testers.
Yeah, their contact voltage tester is like the bestest proving unit going. End of story. I'll die on that hill. It should be
yes, I know what you mean. I've got one of those. Yeah, they as you said, they're very basic, but they're solid.
Yeah, they will do a good proving unit with it, and they've got Martindale. They got the name, haven't they? Like Sam said, Martindale testers for the plugs. I do believe they did invent them. You're right, but yeah, MFTs wise, we don't know. Next one, Dialogue. Has anyone used one of these?
No
So
I've seen one once.
Dialogue.
You've got what?
Beef with Dialogue.
Go on then.
Years ago, when this podcast was called The Electrician's Guide to Everything, they was like all round us and all that. Then a certain group got involved and they ghosted us. So Dialogue.
When I worked at college, we had 5 of these testers, right? They're meant to be made in the same factory as Flute. You can see the form factors there, yeah? And I'm going to be honest, they're so slow. I'm not going to say they're dog shit. They do work, but they are ridiculously slow. It's like using a tape deck. That's it. And the leads are garbage.
They're made in the UK. It says it on there.
It says what?
It's made in the UK.
Well, you can see that. Well, assembled that could be. You can see that form factor is very similar to the
Flute. It says made in the UK, bro. I'm looking at the picture.
But
my understanding is that one of Dialogue's selling points is that they're UK based or UK made or something like that. I just haven't got any experience with them. I did have a Dialogue contact tester for years. That was my first contact tester. Fell apart eventually, but it put in a lot of field time before it eventually succumbed, as they all do.
My verdict on that is, Evan, I think I'm the only person who's going to touch one. They're slow. They work. I'm not saying they calibrate great. They're cheap and they're slow. Q-Tech.
Again, I'm ashamed to say no experience of such.
Sam, don't you? Oh.
I like them. They are solid. Yeah, everybody who's used them says that they're great. And some people, I think anybody who was Robin mad would be Q-Tech mad.
Because they still got the button.
Yeah, it's got a following. It's got people swear by them. For me, I don't like the form factor. I don't know what it is about it. I've said this before to people. There's something about it and about its newer cousin that's got the sort of the baby blue sort of rim around it. I don't know. There's something that just doesn't get me hard.
For me, I really like them. They're really small. And I was working in London doing generators years ago. And we had one of them with us. And like, it was so perfect for working in London because obviously you've got to hoof your tools around. You carry the minimum amount of tools to be able to do the most amount of work. And having that in your bag almost weighed nothing. It done the tests that you needed it to. All your basic standard tests is really, really good. I really liked it. And it was only like maybe about that big. So I don't know, 7 inches
like
by 6 inches. It's really good. It was.
I've just swapped the picture because that one I've got the picture of it's a bit of an older tester. But this one, the KT63 Plus, when I was working at the college, some people used to bring their tests in. That one there has got the best screen I've ever seen on a test device. It's so clear and it's just such a
I
nice
really
screen.
like QTech. I
Is
really like
Is
QTech
that
and
the one
everything they do.
Is that the one you used, Sam, or was it the other one?
No, the other one, the older one. I mean, it's just brilliant. It
That
was
one.
slower. It was slower than the other ones because it's not got as much juice, obviously. But it's a brilliant little tester.
Rugged as well, aren't they?
Yes.
And
QTech is solid stuff. I mean, it's a joint UK Japanese thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm because it's the Robin guys who joined with Kairitsu in Japan. But the natural evolution of these things, which were solid at their day. I mean, these all still work. So yeah, you can't go wrong with them, basically.
that one, I swore by Robin, and obviously they are ex-Robin staff, but it's same as you, mate. I cannot. They're great. The leads are good, which is something I'm going to come to in a bit, but just the form factor's not.
I would buy one of them tomorrow. I'd buy if I had to go out and buy a tester right now. That's what I'm buying.
Do you know what I think?
I would. Basic.
I think I would. I think I'd support them because I do like them. I like the button, and yeah, but I just, you know what I mean. You really like something, but you just never bought one. I'm just like, I don't know why. I'm just like that with it.
It's like looking at a car, isn't it, and going, yeah, it's a great vehicle, but for some reason there's just something I don't like about it, and it's just a personal thing.
Is that a good new to the game tester that we couldn't settle on earlier? I think so.
Yeah,
if I was going to say someone, that is that if you're new to the game, not that one in the picture, but the one I just put up on the webpage, the KT63 Plus. Winner.
No, I would say this one, the KT63. I don't think they make them anymore. I think they're being superseded now. But they are, like, when I was using it, I'm not a tester. I know very basic bit about testing. But I could use that and be, like, fairly okay with it. Like, there's not like a million settings.
Old school, old school basicness is, it doesn't always need to be complicated. That just old school basicness, learn your tests. If you know how to use that, you can use any tester.
Another thing as well is if you're new to the game, you don't necessarily need to go out and buy a new £1,000 tester straight from your local wholesaler. It is perhaps best to start secondhand. I certainly did. My Mega was the first tester I got. That was secondhand, and that and the TIS actually, they were both secondhand, and neither of them had a scratcher on it. Look, I imagine that somebody came along going, "Oh, electrics is piss. I'm going to be an electrician. All I need is a pack of screwdrivers."
I think there's
and then they found they needed this instrument. There is, yeah. I think a lot of people come into the game with good intentions, thinking, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a spark," and then quickly realise that either they're not, it's not going to work out for them, or their head's not in the game after all, and it just goes onto eBay or goes to Sex or whatever. You can pick up good kit second hand.
If you want to prove that, I'm sorry, mate. It's a delay there.
I was just an offer in almost mint condition, hardly used.
If you want to prove that as well, just look on Facebook Marketplace because it's riddled with testers. That are ex people, like you say there, that are just not gone for it, and you can see that they're not nicked. You can see that generally people are trying to.
Yeah, there is always a risk buying second hand. Obviously, you may have to go off and pay for calibration. It's great if you can get something that's still got a certificate on it, but there is you can pick up decent kit, and even if something like the KT63DL isn't made anymore, you can still find it out there. It won't be on any, it won't be on the shelf at CEF or anything like that, but you can still find it out there, and it's a great instrument to start with. Just something I don't like about it. Can't put my finger on it, but it's solid.
That's the first one I think we've all been positive about that is an actual proper brand that make the tester. Yeah, would we agree on that? So that's getting our thumbs up of approval there, if anyone's listening. Now then, the Mega as a brand. I think everyone's got something to say about this.
I've never understood them. I don't care about them. They wind me up just looking at them because I tell you what, people get so, oh, my Mega. It's like, so what? It's a tester. Like you're buying it like it's a pair of Nikes. Don't worry about it. And I don't understand what all these like things that you click onto are. I don't really know what all that means. Why you? It's just, I just don't like them.
Can I just say to you, Sam, just stop. Are they good, though? Are they quality?
I don't know.
Yeah, right, all right. You don't know. Fair enough. I just wanted to see if that's what you thought.
But I will say, I got really lucky, and my local wholesaler had the MFT X1. So the new all singing, all dancing, touchscreen, just turning knob thing. It is well good. Like, if I was like balling out of control and I was going to go and buy a new tester, I think I'm going for the X1 just because it looks so sexy.
Expensive though, very expensive. It's the kind of thing that,
1,600
again,
quid.
if you're new to the game, don't go blowing all your beans on something like that
Yeah, no,
necessarily.
don't.
If you have to know that, you know that the instrument does everything you're going to want it to do going forward, and you know you're like, okay, no, this is my business, because it's one of the most important pieces of kit you'll buy. But yeah, Mega are solid. I always found the 17 series, that's Nigel's one there. I never really got on with it. I find it's a bit sort of overcomplicated. I know what you mean, Sam, by the fact that, you know, you have to.
I totally
dig into
agree as
the-
well. Just to get it out there, I think we're all in agreement there. That, and Sam put it so well. I just don't get it. You know,
The 15 series, a lot of love for the
Yes.
15 series. Again, like I say, it's the first tester I bought. That's the one I'm currently using out on site, and it's absolutely fucking bulletproof.
you know, the Megas, right? Especially that one in the picture. And when I worked at a college, again, I'm saying this, yeah, I got to see a lot of testers going through, right? I got to see a lot of people buying stuff, yeah. First of all, that is an absolutely solid bit of kit, right? And it's well made, and the leads are brilliant, yeah. The problem with it is that screen's out the 80s, and you're forever turning a dial or changing a lead over. And I don't know why. I
Yeah.
do not know why. And then people come in, right? And I was working at a college. I meant to be the person that people come to ask questions. And someone would come with a Mega and they go, oh, you know, my tester go, so that geezer over there has got a Mega as well. Go and ask him, mate, 'cause I ain't got a fucking clue.
Did you say the screens come out in the 80s?
Well, look at that screen, mate. That screen was on that tester when I was at college. That screen was on an installation resist tester when I was at college. I just don't get it. There's nothing wrong with a Mega. You got a solid product, but I just don't get it because my granddad didn't own one. Is that a fair comment?
I think this is a problem with this is sort of moving a little off topic from where we are, but I think this is something that's coming in now. Obviously, the new generation, the apprentices of today, are used to their touchscreen iPhones and such, and touchscreen color displays are like, well, we kind of got to do it because that's what the kids expect to see. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because color touchscreen displays kind of mean that menus can get buried, but also that it's going to chew through the batteries. If you've got the Mega display there, it is a good clear display, and yes, it's LCD, but the fucking batteries are now going to last for 6 months.
I'm not knocking the
on
type
set of
display.
alkalines.
I'm not knocking the type display, to be fair, because we'll get to that in a minute, but I just think it's just not got enough information on it sometimes.
Again, this is part of the problem with having a fixed LCD like that, is you can't put out a firmware update that changes what is there. You've got set digits, set display. The Megas are great for their analog counterpart that goes with the digital thing there. I did a video about that last year, right?
Check it out on YouTube.
But you can't change what's presented. So you have to make sure that everything is presented as you watch. And again, going back to this thing with its dot matrix display.
Are you got a discount code for Metro or something, Dave? 50% off all next week, is they like another brand we know. You got a discount code for that? Use Dave 10.
Well, I should have Bundy 10, shouldn't I? Buy the Metro on my Bundy 10 discount. The advantage over something like a dot matrix display, or even the new sort of color displays that are coming in, is obviously you can stick what you want on there, you can move it, you can change it around. But that display on there, the reason I like that test the most the one I bought, is because it gives me the most information at a glance. The numbers are nice and large, and the detail that it gives me is more at a glance than any of my other previous instruments. And you can take something like the Mega there, it's giving you a set amount of information, but not necessarily everything that you want to see all in one go.
Just to finish off with that Mega, right? You've got two behind. You've got that one in the picture, which I think is a 17 series, and you've got the 15 series. And you say you like the 15 series, but my question is, and this is genuine, I'm not taking the piss, like, literally, what is the fucking difference? Like, they look like they've both got the same screen.
And they haven't. The 17 series does have a more featured screen. Don't know if there's any battery. Oh, there is batteries in it.
Oh, there's a few more bits on there, is there?
Yeah, the 17 series. So, for example, the 17 series, if you were to do another fault loop test, it would also display the prospective fault current at the same time. Whereas on this instrument, I'd have to run it as two separate tests. I'm not sure about what else, because I don't really use the 17 series, so I'm not.
Just got it sat there.
Wow.
Let's
move on.
Move on. I think we've done that. So what we're saying is this solid build, but they're acquired taste. The Ethos range, I believe. Here we go. It's the interlude. I believe. I'm sure Dave Creppers knows bought some. Is this a CEF own brand?
Ethos,
only
I believe, is exclusive to CEF. Yeah.
Does anyone disagree that it's not? It's shit.
Again, this comes down to what can you get for your budget, doesn't it? I think it's a perfectly
first of
capable bit
all,
of kit, but
how
I
much is
can't
one of
speak for
these?
something like longevity.
How much is one of these?
How much?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Someone
I'll
gave
find
me
out.
this one actually. One thing I like about this, check this out. It has a, you talking about your Martindale socket testers. They've got a built-in socket tester. Look at that.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's quite.
Yeah, that
fair
is
one.
a nice feature. And
That one there is £599.94 at CEF. If they've got it in stock, or they'll serve you.
You can't knock that.
These are dialogues, aren't they? These are on a pot. This is dialogue level. Are we saying that? I think that's a fair comment. These are dialogue level testers.
They're more down the sort of the budget end of the range, but this instrument, I haven't used it in anger because, like I say, someone gave it to me. It's certainly feature rich. The only thing I can't speak for, of course, is its longevity or its ruggedness on site because I've got no experience of how good they are out in the field. But yeah, it is a budget brand. But again, if you're starting off, you don't necessarily need to blow a four-figure sum on a Fluke or a Mega.
If you get 2 years, if you get 2 years out of £599 tester, whether it's that one or a dialogue type one, if you start out, that's probably not a bad deal. Was that fair comment?
A lot of these things are down to it's the survivability out on the van, isn't it? And that's what annoys me about a lot of these brands which punt premium products, but then give you a really shit bag to put it in. The one advantage of the likes of Fluke is they give you a proper case, so it's going to survive longer out in the field. Whereas even your top end Metrals or your new Mega X1, it's coming in a fucking soft case, and I do not understand that. That's just ridiculous because that ain't going to last in the back of your van.
I'll tell you who do a good, really nice tester case. I got one from Bundo. Is Velocity, and it's like
the 7.5. The 7.5.
I don't know. It's got like a velvety inside. You can change all the compartments so you can get it smaller to hug your tester. It's lovely, and it's a nice big bag, so you can get all your bits in it. So you can literally have another toolkit in there, and your tester and all the leads and your continuity testers and bits and pieces. You can have the whole lot in there. And I've got to say, whilst we're talking about testers, go and check out that Velocity bag. It is the creme. Do
you know what? You're on fire tonight. You're on fire because I would absolutely agree with everything you just said. I've got one down there. I just went and got this test drive before we started. That 7.5 bag, I've got one on my work van. I've got one down here. Not only is it a fucking amazing bag, it just works. Everything's in the right place. But you can tell it's designed to protect your testers.
Yeah, it is.
And you can get one with the code. But yeah, I'm not sponsored by Velocity, but I bum everything they do because they do make good shit. But that tester bag is something else. But yeah, Ethos, would you consider it if you was new?
No. I would never buy that over the KT63 because they're about the same sort of dough. That's probably got more functions on it. But look at it. Like, look at that. It just
looks a bit fucking gashed on it. I mean, if that's all the money you've got.
If someone gave me that, I'd sell it for what I could and put it towards buying the 63.
Taking that cash converters. We are going to do this next year as well. Maybe we'll change mine, but I don't think we will. But we won't change mine on that bag. Next one.
The thing to say quickly is that when I got my, I don't have it here at the moment because it went off for repair, my Robin Am probe, which is basically a rebadged Uni T tester, that had to go off because it had failed calibration. Apparently it's been repaired now, but I was talking to the guy who repairs them, and he was saying that I was saying, well, what kind of brands do you see come across your desk for repair more often than others? And he was saying it was the sort of the budget brands, so perhaps. Yeah,
they've got to save the money somewhere, aren't there? The money's getting chopped somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I do question whether there's the ruggedness, the longevity in there. He was saying that Mega and Fluke are the ones that they least see and the ones that are easiest to repair. Although he finds Fluke easier to repair than Megas because Mega can be a bit dickish about providing.
They are a bit dickish, and
they repair an house, don't they, as well?
Yeah, they're only down the road for me. Like the HQ, we've been invited to go there. It's only down the road. It's in Dover, and the geezer I was speaking to, he had the raving up with me to begin with, but then he was all right.
He's gone after this podcast. I forgot what you said about Mega.
No,
I
but it's true.
think the invitation's been withdrawn.
The problem is with these brands is Mega and Fluke. When I was coming up, were the only ones really that anyone spoke about. It was a Mega. You was either Mega or Fluke, and it depended really on what college you went to that had a Mega or Fluke, or what geezer you was working with, whether he had a Mega or Fluke. It was to what you would learn on.
Yeah, your granddad's meter. You know what the craziest bit is about Mega and Fluke? Look, because you all just said then, it's Mega and Fluke, right? You know, Metro, I think they make those testers, and these other firms just make testers, yeah? Metro and Fluke, 18th edition testers for the UK market are an incredibly small part of their range. Mega are basically known for HV test equipment. And Fluke are known for all sorts of
Fluke are like a corporation.
But they are the two brands that are the most, like the one or the other in the UK, actually don't really give a total shit about MFTs. It's just something they sell.
I don't know if that's true.
It is. Mega make a lot of high voltage test equipment really, really expensive and really, really good. If you want to talk about Mega, other equipment, it's all super duper. It's just the MFTs I don't like. But yeah, I think that's generally true. Maybe they'll tell us when they kick us out of their department when we go down there. That Robin's up there just because it was my first tester. And I gave it away.
You threw it away, didn't you? Did you throw it away?
I threw it away, and I fucking I need it for this set, dickhead. If anyone's got a 1620,
why would you throw it away?
Even
if it didn't work, why would you throw it away?
It was about 10 years ago when I weren't becoming a geeky electrical person. But yeah, if anyone's got one from a background, I'm willing to do swaps with it. But yeah, sorry, TIS, I've cut this one off, but that's the TIS Multifunction Pro. I know you've both got experience with this, and I ain't, so off you go.
Right, I'm going to go first on this one. So, I love it. It's very sexy. There's a few problems. First of all, when I first got it, I was like, don't know what to do with this. So I had to phone Mark Allison. He gave me a run through, and he's like, well, go to this screen, do this, do this, do this. And I don't know what he made me do to make it work properly, but we had to fanny about with it for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, changing settings. So if you've got to do that just to get it working, that's a problem straight away for me. It's a bit cheapy. Like, so when I picked up the MFT X1, right? It's like an aviary out in my garden. When I picked up the MFT X1, I went outside and had a look at my MFT Pro, and I was a little bit disappointed with it. I was like, oh. But what I will say is, pound for pound, it's probably the best tester you can get. And if you are a functioning spaz like me when it comes to testing, that is a good bet, because it shows you everything you need to do for each test, what leads to use, what port to put them in. It really gives you, it's a tester for dummies. And they do really long leads with them.
I've not touched one, so I'm out of this one, although I will say I'm intrigued. I want to touch one and play with one.
I think it's a very capable instrument. I picked mine up second hand, and it was got a blemish on it, unlike now, because it's had quite the shit kicked out of it now. Used it on site for a good few years. I was very sniffy about it when I first got it. One of the reasons I got it, because back when I was making YouTube videos fairly regularly, I was like, oh no, I haven't seen anybody make a video about this before. That's one of the reasons why I went for the Metro as well. I haven't seen anyone make a video about it.
Use code SAVERY10.
So yeah, I picked it up secondhand, and I've never used all the features and functions on it. I think it's a very capable tester. The alien form factor made me do quite a sort of sniffy review when I first got it. I was like, because it does differ so much from this more traditional design that you see, that sort of is based perhaps on the kind of the fluke shape, as you might want to call it.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
It's quite a heavy bit of kit, and to be honest, once I had the firmware upgraded, because one of the things I was sniffy about was capability of the model I had, but then I got the firmware upgraded. It's like, oh, it does more now. This is great. I was able to drive this really quick and easy, and you get people going, well, I get sort of lost on the touch screens, which is what I expected to do. But once you know your way around, it's like beep, 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 and off you go.
Is it a computer, Dave? Is it just a computer? That
all of these things are computers.
No, but that specific one, I know there's an orange version of that now that I've seen Mark Allison using. and it's got the solar package in it. So what I'm saying
Well,
is that
to be fair, they're all made by HT, which is an Italian company. Orange is their natural colour. These are rebadged for TIS for the UK. So it's all Italian kit. I don't know. I've got batteries in it. The only disadvantage from my point of view was you can't adjust the brightness of that colour screen.
Oh,
Not very well on camera, is it? So when you're in a dark room, it's really sort of, if you're under the stairs cupboard or whatever, it's really sort of glaring in your face, and you can't see what buttons you're pressing. These buttons aren't backlit or anything. It's right sort of in your face. But that was the only negative thing I could say about it. But just going through and running the tests and that sort of stuff, I find it a very capable instrument.
And I've seen you use it quite a lot.
Toolbox.
I've seen you use it quite a lot. You're one of the people that got me into even thinking about them on your videos. You can look at Dave's back catalogue and see.
There is another downside as well, and Dave's touched on this earlier on about other testers. The colour screen means, and the brightness of that screen means it rinses out batteries quick.
Which
again, I don't necessarily agree with that. I hear that a lot, but it's all about the batteries you put in.
Agreed.
And if you buy Panasonic Eneloop batteries, which you'll find at horrendous cost on Amazon or whatever, yes, you will be paying like 30 quid for a pack of 8 batteries or whatever, but they will last the distance. And I'm still using Panasonic Eneloops that I bought back in 2010, and they're still absolutely solid. And I could go for a good sort of 2-3 weeks between having to take the batteries out and recharge them using those sort of things. It's all about the batteries you buy.
I'm not a geek. I'm not researching Panasonic Eneloop batteries. I'm going to Poundland. I'm going to buy them batteries in Poundland. I'm going to put them in.
In that case, you will be replacing those batteries at the end of the day.
Yeah. And if they don't last a day, I'm going to be furious.
But that's what this podcast's for. And Dave has got me onto those batteries a few years ago when I started watching them. I was like, oh, give him a bash. And I've
Dave
still
is
got
such
some.
A geek, isn't he? Who researches what batteries to use?
The thing is, you've got to have something
I better put that back
through the day.
But
another thing to say about it is it's the only tester I've got, the only MFT I've got that does earth leakage if you buy the clamp accessory, which is a horrendous cost. And it doesn't do a great job of earth leakage.
It's more than an MFT tip, we should say. It's much more than an MFT.
You'd be better off just buying a decent earth clamp. But a separate earth clamp, but it does do it. Also, it does do the sort of the save functions and that sort of stuff as well, which I've never used because, again, I just don't trust that a day's worth of the EICR results are going to be on my instrument at the end of the day when I get back to my drinking hole.
Right then, moving on to the David Savery MFT 1000. So he's covered quite a bit already.
So,
Metro.
Funny story.
Well, 3152.
Go on then, Sam. That is it.
So I've been to Metro's HQ in the UK. We met with them, me and Rick, back in the day. And yeah, what a weird little outfit.
Well, you're not just leaving it at that. You will expand on that story.
Mate, so I'll tell the story. I don't care. Anyway, so we got set up to go and meet these. And we get there, and there's this right little geezer comes out. But first of all, we go to like this commercial estate, and there is a tiny unit with an office above the garage type thing. It's a tiny unit. Anyway, this little geezer comes out smoking a fag. You all right, mate? Yeah. I used to be a drum and bass DJ. Yeah. And all this. And it yeah. And honestly, just walking around like this, peak. He's going, yeah, I'm going to be going out I'm MCing tonight.
Like that guy of a nightclub when you've had it. I used to that guy who sat next to the toilet just going,
I'm sure he was off his nut. Anyway, we get upstairs. There's some weird Polish geezer in the corner, just like Dr. Frankenstein messing about with testers like this all in the corner. And I was just like, mate, we need to get out of here. We're going to get abducted and sent to Slovenia.
I didn't see this episode going this way, if I'm honest.
But yeah, it was a weird little experience. And me and Rick come out of that place, and Rick looked at me and went, do you know what I mean? No way.
Did you touch a tester while you was there or anything?
Mate, I was like we're trying it on. We're trying it on a little bit. I was like, well, we need one of them testers. And he was like, here you go. And gave us one of their continuity testers. And I was like, oh, fuck that.
So Dave, trying to fucking screw up a freebies, you asshole.
Dave, who's actually used the Dave Savery 1000 tester, how do you, if you haven't mentioned him enough already, how do you find him?
That's easily the most complicated tester I've got. It's not actually mine; it belongs to Metro. They did a loan for us.
That's going back after this podcast, isn't it?
Podcast
Go
over,
back,
Dave. Don't want to give it
pile.
back.
But well, I've messaged them about it since. And he tested, by the way. I don't know about film, so I don't know if they've forgotten about it. But it's easily the most complicated tester we've got.
Oh, hang on. Let's just clarify for all reviews, yeah? You've got 2 Metro testers there, haven't you?
Yes, that's one I bought.
And the one you've
which
been
is
bumming to death is that one.
Well, when I went to Lex in 2017, both of these were on the stand. And then obviously the guys on the stand were trying to push, their new whistles and bells.
How much is that one?
But
that one in your hands, $3,000, isn't it?
I will look.
No, it can't be that much.
I will look on the internet.
So I looked at that one and thought, I understand the dials on that. I can cope with that. One thing to say about dials is that they can get dust in them on first fix sites. I have seen testers that fail before because dust gets into the switches and stuff. So an advantage of a touch screen is that it supposedly is perhaps more robust. The disadvantage is that it's very easy to get lost in the menus on a touchscreen tester, especially one that's very featured. This has all sorts of stuff that I don't even understand, that I've never even looked at, because I've not read the manual. I didn't really expect to have it in my possession for as long as I did.
About
we know it. We can drive it.
No, it's not. £1,300, that one. Sorry, my bad.
The screen is beautiful, high-res colour display. But yes, it does chew through the batteries. If we've used that in anger in the day, that's going on charging. And
can it play
overnight.
Doom, Dave? Can it play Doom?
It probably can, mate. It probably can. It's another one where you can save your results. I've never tried doing that. But what this does do that none of the other instruments I have do is the EV stuff. So I've got the EV adapter. I've actually got an Ethos EV adapter. Because obviously they're all kind of the same. It doesn't really matter what brand you buy.
Is that on board then, Dave? Sorry, just to clarify, because that's confronted me. I know you've got an Ethos adapter. I've seen your videos, which adapts a normal tester to do EV stuff. But that one has got EV on board, EV stuff on board.
It has auto sequence. So I can go in there and I can say, yes, I've got a 1-phase, no trip, a no vent trip charge point, and it'll tell me. You probably can't see on the screen there. It's telling me what to set the tester to, the charge point adapter to, and then I can start running the tests, and I can go through. It'll go through each test, and you just sort of leave it to it. And every time it trips the RCD, you go and reset it, and at the end of it all, it gives you a whole sequence of data that you can save. I don't install enough EV charge points to really know my way around that hugely. I'll be installing even fewer going forward.
I've never touched one of their testers, but I think we've got a fair comparison there between Sam and Ding. Is that more? Have you got to be an advanced level tester to buy one? Is what I want to know. What I want to answer now. You got to be a bit more into it to buy one of them.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're just coming into the game, and there's no point spending out that kind of money on something quite as well featured as that. You could argue, well, it future proofs me. If you've got the budget, why not get something that is going to last and that you're going to be future proofed on? Something like the Metro or the new Mega X1. Yeah, you are going to future proof yourself.
Right, is this the last one now?
All right, we're getting there. Do you want me to move on?
Yeah.
Sam's ag today.
I'm very
I am a fucking Fluke fanboy. I love them. I love all their testers. That's it. There's this one and there's something else after to finish off. But yeah, Fluke. Yeah,
I had one of the older Flukes, a 1662 or something. It didn't have auto RCD testing. Obviously, Fluke, a renowned brand, top quality gear. You can't go wrong. You will pay through the nose for it, but it will be rock solid. I just gave mine away, like I say,
you got weeks
ago, so I don't have one anymore.
You got it on this one, Sam, on Flukes before I give it the big Fluke win?
To be honest with you, I never got on with them. I never got on with testing generally. I'm just having a look how much they are, because they're not cheap, are they?
If you are going to listen to anyone on this podcast and you're new, you should be listening to Sam. And if you're new to the game and you're looking for a tester, you should listen to Sam's opinion. He's quite right there. They are a bit tricky to get your hands around, but I think for the pound,
you know what I hate is if you haven't done your 2391 and you still got to do a bit of testing, right? Unless you there's settings on there that you won't understand that you need to change to make it to be able to do a test.
I don't personally think they're like that. I think that works out of the box. But the one,
No,
I
but
think it's quite straightforward.
I don't think there's settings you have to do that you don't understand as a spaz tester like myself, just to get it to work. And I'm like, no, not.
I think the Fluke is probably an easier interface than something like the 17 series Mega.
Probably.
I'm going to move on quickly because I think we've done it all. But what I want to talk about, which is one reason why I love Fluke, is this.
Hold on.
And it's these.
Oh, what
leads. Right? As far as I'm concerned, the test lead set that you can buy for a Fluke meter that comes with them are the best test leads in the world. They cannot be beat by any other manufacturer. The Fluke test leads are the bollocks. What I would say is, and I'm going to say so, I want people to tell me if I'm wrong. If you buy any tester and add a set of Fluke test leads to it that come with the MFT, which I believe is that one there, which I'll click on, yeah, you will improve that tester considerably. And that's a deal break for me.
I don't know.
It pays to have decent test leads. I know Nige bought some shit ones off eBay once because he got cheap for like 20
quid. Killed him.
And they were fucking garbage. You do have to pay out for decent test leads, and you'll have to replace them maybe every couple of years or so as well.
And another reason, what Dave said about the Metrals is, you cannot fit those to the Metrals. I will not buy any tester on principle that does not take a banana plug.
Yeah, that did put me off originally, but the Metral test leads are solid. I've only had to change my lead set once with that tester, but yes, it is a.
But you can't use them on other testers, can you?
No. Well, funnily enough, except for the Seawood, which has the same proprietary interface.
Shit, he's bought off eBay. But yeah, I think the thing people need to remember, I used to send some 2091 courses, yeah? Most of the time, the thing you're interacting with the most is the leads. And you can start thinking certain testers are absolute dog shit, but it's the leads. Whereas if you look around and be aware, you can buy every manufacturer's test set of leads and mix and match them as long as they take banana plugs. And I've had people combine those Fluke leads with a Q-Tech, and it's an absolute winner. So yeah, just be aware if you're buying that those leads, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'll tell you why. That will mess with my that
because
I have to have, like, if I have a TIS MFT, I have to have the plug-in tester, the continuity tester, the pen tester. It all has to match. Same way as if I got Mega, I'd have to then throw everything away and get Mega.
You know,
I couldn't have Fluke leads on it, bruv. No.
Even though you're a bit
of have the best thing for the job.
Even though you're a bit of a nutcase, you know what? That's probably one of the reasons why I love Fluke, because I have a lot of Fluke testers and I have a lot of Fluke leads, and I know exactly what you're saying there. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Could you imagine mixing Fluke with a Mega and then combine? I'd just be like, that is just heresy. I can't do it. It's like these weirdos that have a Milwaukee pack-out kit with Makita in it. And you're like, you see them, they turn up looking like they've got a Rolls Royce, but underneath they've got a Lada engine. You're like, go away from me.
It's one to watch, though. I mean, I know what you're saying, and I think I might be in that box. I need to do a test and find out. But if you do find a set of leads great and you combine them with a tester, you can mix and match to come up with what suits you and stick it all in your velocity bag, can't you?
But if you do that, we cannot be friends.
There is another brand who might be coming to these shores.
Oh, this isn't something we didn't.
I had a few beers with the guy from Chauvin Onu, which is a French company.
Oh, they make.
I've heard of these.
Yeah, make very good.
That has been around for a very long time.
And they do all that high end stuff, like proper, like they do.
They even still make these things for markets where you need to. Yeah.
Let's mutually show our megas off.
Where's your Sam? Where's yours? Where's yours, Sam?
If I had one of them, I would listen. I'm not going to say what I was going to say then, but no, really.
They're still making them new today for places that you're out in the middle of a desert or whatever, and you need a way of doing your testing that doesn't rely on any kind of power or batteries or whatever. But I believe that they're trying to break into the UK market with their MFT. So that's one that I'm interested in taking a look at as well, because that's anything left field I like.
They make excellent phase analytic stuff, which I use a bit. But before we go into banter, I'm going to wrap this up. Yeah, we're going to make this annual. We got on Dave because he's the expert, and we're going to make this annual. So next year we're going to do this all again. if any manufacturer, because I suspect a few of them might watch this to see what he said, if any manufacturer wants to loan any of us one of their testers for a predetermined amount of time to try it out, we will then review that again next year. If you think we've been unfair about your tester or said something that's not good, or you think we missed a thing, you are free to contact us. We are real sparkers doing real testing day in day out. We will accept your meters on loan. We do not take gifts. Yeah, because it would skew the results.
What are you talking about? I'll take a gift.
I won't.
Send me a tester so it ends up in cash converters. Quick.
No, send us your tester on loan. We will try, and if you think we've specifically missed anything about your testers being better than the others, we are willing to try them out, and we will do them in the annual review of Testers 2024 if David Savery hasn't drunk himself to death.
Just to be clear, if you send me a tester, I'm keeping it.
We are not accepting.
Everybody is going to send you assholes anything.
Well, I'm
keeping it.
Send it to Dave, and he'll tell us all about it. But yeah, we are open.
I haven't even read the fucking manual for that one yet. You think I'm going to read the manual for a Mega X1 if it turns out?
I just think sometimes I overcomplicate that X1.
What I will say is, let's have a little chat, right? Each of us have got to give our best tester, the one we covet, and the one we would buy an apprentice.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. Who's going
I'll
first?
go first. X1 for me. Desperate for an X1. I just love the fact that they're pushing the boat out. I love the fact that Mega are UK based. They assemble it all in the UK. I love that. I love the fact they're local boys to me, so that's good. And if I had an apprentice, I'm buying them probably a TIS.
I'm gonna say, if you knew and you want to buy a meter, I'd buy an apprentice, a Q-Tech, because I do honestly believe they are very Robin. They're very simple, very basic. And once you've learned to test on that, you can test on anything. And if I was going to buy a new meter for myself, it would just be another Fluke from the 16 range, because I love Fluke. I'm Fluke. I just love Fluke. But yeah, Q-Tech for apprentices, I think it can't be beat.
Davo?
Yeah, I probably agree. This is the only one I ever did really spend money and anger on, and it gives me the most information at a glance for the most common tests that I need. So that's always been my go-to. But I agree with Jamie there. I think if you're starting out, a few years ago, I'd have said the 15 series Mega is a solid choice, but obviously it's getting very long in the tooth now. Q-Tech you can't go wrong with, can you?
So you two were wrong, I was right. So the Mega X1 and the TIS MFT Pro.
You're going to buy
level one for apprentices.
They're all valid machines.
Dave, what would you buy again? You didn't say that. You just said the apprentice one.
What would I buy again?
What would you buy if all your testers broke? All of them.
I don't know, because I'm such an asshole. I'll just look at something different again, probably. You go, what haven't I played with so far? I don't know. It's a tough one. All these things they all have their pros and cons, and I don't know. I think I would take a serious look at the Q-Tech if I was starting again from scratch.
If I'm not mistaken,
I haven't played with it, but
go on. There's a delay. Sorry.
No. Just because it's one I haven't played with and it's one I hear great things about. It's just there's something I don't like about it. With its form factor.
This is the right delay here, sorry. If I'm not mistaken, then, on the Electricians podcast 2023 annual test review, the winner is Q-Tech.
Well, no.
Which I haven't played with.
Is that right? Well, you said it, I said it, and Dave said it.
Well, I didn't say Q-Tech. I said TIS MFT.
No. It was the common one for the apprentice, weren't it?
All right.
Don't forget as well that TIS make the MFT Eco, which is a sort of more cut down version of the Pro without the colour screen.
No, you've got to have the colour screen. Don't come with no chief out colour, non-colour, black and white screen, green screen. We can't be friends. Sorry.
No one's leaving till we decide. If you are new to the game, which I expect people to watch this content for that, which one?
It's definitely the KT63 basic. Yeah, it is that. That is the winner. That is the winner. But I would say a close runner-up for learning to use a machine, and if you wanted to be able to be a bit scalable and understand the technical side of things as well, is the MFT Pro.
I'd agree with that. I'd go with that. And if you learn